I am 43 years old, almost, and I'm starting over. It's not like a big crisis happened or anything. I didn't lose my job, particularly. I'm self employed. I've been for almost 10 years. This month is actually going to be my 10-year anniversary as a solo entrepreneur. What a fucking ride it's been. I feel like I've been through the entire roller coaster. And this is like a crazy roller coaster. It doesn't exist yet. It's like got a million loops. I've had the biggest ups, the most mind-blowing, I can't believe this is happening moments. And I've had some pretty tough falls from high up. The ones you really don't understand, you walked away from. Broken? Maybe not. Scarred, definitely. Part of me is sad. The very human I don't understand. Or I only understand what I can see, what I can feel, what I can touch. That part feels like 10 years. It's a long time. No? I've served a lot of clients. I've made a lot of money in those 10 years. Just not nowhere near what I imagined. And I guess that's always the thing, we want it to go faster. Everything we really want that isn't here, we want it to go faster. Can't wait. So excited. Like kids before Christmas Eve or their birthday, right? My oldest just turned 13. I made the decision, because of him and his brother, to be an entrepreneur. So they wouldn't have two working parents, that we would never see them. And there's no regrets. Not a single one. It's given us so much time, so much presence. I never have to worry about our children being sick and who had to call in and not show up for work. We never had to send them off to daycare or later school if they really had an off day. So no regrets. So why am I starting over? I always tell my clients when they kind of feel like something is dead in their business, like stop performing CPR on something that is long gone, because even if you bring it back to life, it will never be viable. And that's kind of what I feel like I've been doing with my business this past year. And I realized something. When I started my business, I knew nothing. I didn't know how you actually build a business. I didn't even know what I wanted to truly offer, It wasn't a deep desire or dream to be a solo entrepreneur. I later found out it's written all over my design and chart and everything, written in the stars. But it was never a desire. But because I didn't know anything, I of course looked for people who knew, who could help me. That's what most people do, right? And I found them. Except the way I was taught business wasn't really a way that felt right. It was actually just more hustle. The same doubts, the same insecurities, the same fear, the same patterns that you would have in your corporate job would just be brought into your business. It was very manipulative. It was very persuasive. I invested so much money in coaches and programs to learn, and I felt myself a million miles from my truth, myself. And out of everything, I think that's what hurts the most. Not the insane amount of money I spent on something that never lived up to what it promised, not seeing the worst in people not falling for really good marketing and sales tactics. I mean, I have my moments where I think, God, what could I have used that money for instead? But I know they'll come back. You know, they have come back. Maybe not tenfold yet in terms of money, but definitely in lessons and in a clear feeling of how I want to do business and how I don't want to do business. But something happens when you keep learning from others, and something happens when you kind of keep looking towards those further ahead. Because on one side, they've done it. They're proof. That's amazing. And they will inevitably have discovered things you can use. So you don't have to discover everything on your own. But what I've just realized very recently is that what will end up happening in most cases is that you listen to them so hard from where they are now and the experience they have and the steps they've taken, and you look at what they are doing right now and you try to implement that. You try to do that. You try to listen hard to that. But they have only been able to do that after a lot of other steps. And even though they may feel that some of those steps are necessary, like I feel that some of my failures were necessary, that's not actually true. And you can't skip steps. Now, what made my business work the first time around was that I allowed myself to play. I allowed myself to experiment. I allowed myself to discover. There was no pressure of a brand, of a business I had to live up to. There was no right steps or order. There was nothing where every move I made had to kind of fit together and click together. It wasn't calculated, it wasn't structured, it wasn't well planned, and part of that eventually became the downfall. But I miss it. I've put so much pressure on myself to do it right, because this time I was smarter. This time I knew what not to do. This time I had so much more business knowledge. It didn't even occur to me that that could be bad, that it could be something that would almost equally fuck me up as much as not knowing did. Because what I've been trying to do for 2 years is to create a business. But I haven't allowed myself to discover after getting up, after rediscovering myself. I haven't allowed myself to discover what it is I actually want to offer. I haven't given myself the time to be an entrepreneur and just imagine, invent, test, try, discover, play, have fun. Everything has always felt like it had to fit into this greater plan, because that was what everyone further ahead was doing, you know, the funnels, the pathways, and everything. So I'm starting over. And even despite the sad phase, I'm actually so relieved and happy and excited about this. Because I may not have started because I wanted to be a solo entrepreneur, because I wanted to have my own business. But I sure as hell want that now. But I want my business. The real one, the true one for me. I want the one that I love waking up to every day. I love showing up in. The one that feels like an extension of me. The one that allows me room to grow and breathe. The one that can hold that not everything I do has to be the greatest success. The one where even failures are the greatest assets. And I can't build that with the added pressure of having to live up to a business, a brand, a very set structure of what everything has to be and look like and how it has to work together. So I'm starting over. Why not?